What's up, y'all? Rich Slayton here with another great best of 5 between two of the absolute best in the business. That's right. It's Airsurfer of Misfits versus Boeufmac of Tribe Gaming. The rules are best of 5, ban on first loss. Let's go ahead and get started here in this great BO5 between two of the top players in the game. Let's go. So you can see Boeufmac top of your screen, Airsurfer at the bottom. No bans yet. You'll see on the right-hand side, for those of you watching live or those of you watching recorded, the $100 Open today will be directly after this, and it's not winner take all anymore. Top 4 make the prize pool, only on Trovo. You're probably watching on Trovo if you're watching live, so if you're watching on YouTube, check the show notes for information on all of those open tournaments. Right now, though, Airsurfer going with Elixir Pump. Miner goes right there. Miner wall breakers for Boeufmac. Boeufmac does play a ton of miner wall breakers. Interesting to see the pump out of Airsurfer. Could this be a weird version of Pump Bow? Airsurfer was known as an Expo player for a long time. Those of you who followed the original global tournaments before there was the change in matchmaking, when he put up those numbers where he was doing 130, 150 wins in one tournament, he was playing Expo in those tournaments. This could be a Pump Bow variation. It has a lot of the pieces. Second pump down, real nasty. Boeufmac does have both poison and the miner, so two different ways to deal with it. Nice catch there, goes for the double catch, doesn't need it. The Knight gets it perfectly. Airsurfer now about to build up a pretty significant lead when it comes to Elixir. And there you go, first Expo down. Knight in front to protect for a moment. He can easily Tesla whenever he wants here. I believe Tesla's perfectly in cycle. So chooses the Muskie instead, wants the DPS to get all that out of the way. Nice poison value for Boeufmac, though, although this will be a connection. And a pretty big connection it is. So first huge chunk of damage. Pump Bow. That's super fun. Afro notes, this is full screen. I don't know what you mean. Like, you mean full screen for portrait mode? If you guys want to watch this on portrait mode, guys, open up in your browser and use pinch to zoom to watch this in portrait mode. And there you go. Man, Airsurfer just so far ahead with these pumps. Boeufmac has pieced deal with them, but when that miner, when he did the double drop to catch the miner on that second pump, it was pretty nasty. And that probably sealed this one. 2 Expos down now. That's going to be a GG here in game number 1. Filthy. Filthy. And that's what you get from Airsurfer. Top level Expo play. Who's playing Pump Bow in July of 2020? Airsurfer is. He takes the lead 1-0 here in our first game. GG, well played. Brilliant work by the Misfits head-to-head player. A lot of people in the chat right now for the live stream of this calling it toxic. Well, it might be toxic, but it most certainly worked. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats for this one as we get ready for game number 2. And this was a rough one. Let me just get the ban from Boeufmac. And we'll go ahead and get ready for game number 2 here. And Boeufmac, no big surprises here that Boeufmac is going to go ahead and ban the Expo. So Expo is now banned for the remainder of our game, of our match. Let me go ahead and find the Expo and put that up on the screen here for his ban. And there you go. Oh, that was the wrong ban. Hold on. Let me go to the other side here and get it banned on the proper side. So there you have your stats for this one. And remember, directly after this, we are going to have the $100 Open Tournament. So stick around if you haven't done that yet. Let's go ahead and go game number 2. Let's get this started. Let me just make sure that I have that. Yep, there you go. Directly after this today will be the $100 Open Tournament. So if you're here hanging out, make sure you stick around. Name and password will be up after this best of 5 is completed. Guys taking their time to make their choices. And there we go, game number 2 about to kick off. Airsurfer Up one, let's go. And the patented Airsurfer emote, the one he does every single time, has good luck. Piggy Gold coming out here. And banning Tesla might have been a more interesting ban here, but just straight up banning Expo works for Boeufmac as well. Maybe Boeufmac wants to run Tesla in some decks. By the way, guys, check out the overlay. You see the flags behind Boeufmac and Airsurfer? Isn't that pretty rad? Come on, that's pretty darn rad. So minor wall breakers both directions. Looking pretty much like a mirror match so far. Wall breakers high. We'll see if Boeufmac's also running delivery here. Knight to the outside. Yeah, the flag's looking baller with the logos there as well. I feel good about today's overlay. This is my favorite of the head-to-head overlays we've done so far. Here on trovo.live/RichSlayton or youtube.com/RichSlayton, whether you're watching this live or watching this on demand once this is loaded up. For those of you to watch it, the replay on YouTube. Wall breakers in, delivery might be a half step late. Nope, does get down. Pretty even so far between Airsurfer and Boeufmac. Airsurfer had by a couple hundred HP in that left-hand lane. Both these guys have had fairly interesting journeys through their CRL careers. Boeufmac began as the third man, sort of a semi-bench warmer in Season 1 of Clash Royale League back in the EU region on Team Liquid when it was Surgical, Goblin, Diego B, Azealis, Boeufmac, and Juicy J. And Boeuf did play a little bit that season, but obviously the trifecta of players knew each other so well in Surge, Azealis, and Diego got most of that play. Of course, that season didn't go very well for Team Liquid. Boeufmac stuck around, though, and they made the change. Azealis left, ended up over at Team Queso. Kind of a last-minute pickup there for the next season. Did great at Team Queso, but that movement gave Boeufmac, gave Charlie some time to shine. And Team Liquid winning the CRL Western Championship in Season 1 of West, or Season 2 overall of CRL. So Boeufmac did win a Western Championship with Team Liquid, and then left. Some friction during the summertime over at the World Cyber Games. Boeufmac decided that he really wanted a chance to be the star of a team rather than be kind of the third wheel behind the big stars, the bigger names. Went with Energy, where Energy barely made it to the playoffs off of a 5-match run, courtesy of Boeufmac crushing it. Then now over at Tribe Gaming with a powerhouse roster, reunited with former teammate Azealis there, where they've become a 2v2 duo, and they are certainly fun to watch. Airsurfer starting to pull a little bit ahead here. Some good damage on the right-hand side. Boeufmac trying to keep the pressure on the left the best that he can, away from that weak side tower. Airsurfer goes right into the bats, will get 2 swings, but not much more than that, and a nice catch on the Knight by Airsurfer. He's reading these pretty well so far. So Boeufmac decides to load up right-hand lane now, but no catches in cycle, so Miner goes to the back for Boeufmac. Will get some good damage on the left-hand side. Bomb tower down now to contend with the push coming in. What does Boeufmac do about Airsurfer's Miner on the right-hand side? Goes for the delivery, but now within real danger of being poison cycled out. 284 on the right-hand side as we enter triple elixir. I think Airsurfer's got this one pretty well sewn up at this stage. He goes Miner, goes poison. Airsurfer going to go on the right-hand side. Those spears way ahead, stops the Miner, poison down. There's no way for Boeufmac to get enough damage in. Airsurfer wins game number 2 of our BO5 matchup. GG, well played. Airsurfer now up 2-0 in this BO5. Let's go take a look at the stats for that one. And as you can see, the matchup's pretty even since it's the exact same deck. There you have it. Let's go ahead and tell them game 3 when ready. So there you have it. Mirror matchup, and you see the amount of cards played of each kind. The big difference here, if you look at this, is the defensive cards played. You see that Boeufmac was way more on the offensive most of the time. Airsurfer played 3 more deliveries and 2 more bomb towers. Airsurfer played this very, very defensively. You got to wonder how important that was overall in winning this mirror matchup. Tons of wall breakers from Boeufmac. Pretty even on the minor play. Man, that pump bow just caught him out in game number 1. We'll see what Boeufmac has for game number 3 here against Airsurfer. Remember, guys, $100 open to follow this one, so if you're sticking around, if you're here, stick around. $100 open, name and password will be up on the stream after this best of 5 is over. 1,000-player tournament, top 8 will make a bracket, top 4 will win cash. But right now, we are in to game number 3 of our big matchup, Boeufmac. Back to the wall here. Airsurfer up 2-0. Airsurfer, like I said, also had an interesting road through CRL. Started his first season with TSM with a shorthanded team of just Airsurfer, Firewolf, and Vulcan. But still, they held on well enough that season for the arrival of the mad scientist himself, OP Sam. TSM made playoffs and went fairly deep in those playoffs. Eliminated Cloud9 in the first round of that playoffs, if I remember correctly. After that, Airsurfer moved over to Complexity to what should have been a powerhouse squad. Airsurfer and Vulcan both went there, joining what was already a pretty nasty Complexity team, but Complexity just could not seem to find the rhythm, could not get it together over there. And now second place in CRL West this season with his 3rd squad, Misfits. And he's become really, really good at playing in the competitive scene as opposed to, I guess you can call the other online tournaments competitive as well, but it's a guy who struggled a lot with some nerves, has been phenomenal this season. So Mortar Miner with Cannon Cart here for Boeufmac and having a good start to this game. Out to a significant lead here. If that Cannon Cart, no, Cannon Cart does not break into the 2nd level, but still will be able to deal with that Valk. So pretty even on Elixir are these two, but at the moment, it is Boeufmac with the lead, 14-30 on the right-hand side. Does Mortar GY typically run Miner with it? If there were a Miner in this Mortar GY, that would be weird. If you're watching this on YouTube going, no, Rich, well, the chat asked. Chat's talking about Mortar GY, but I believe this is just going to be Mortar Miner. Delivery comes in. Bats get zapped off. Archer's going to need help here. This balloon might get a connection on the right-hand side. Gets slowed down by the cannon. Nice. The cannon goes down to the phase 2 and pulls the balloon. Death damage will get in, but now dual lane pressure from the Brit. Boeufmac has 1256 on Airsurfer's left-hand tower, 1430 on the right now, 1341. Needs to find some way. That delivery does knock back just a little bit. A good zap here from Airsurfer. Will the Archer stop the connection? They do by a hair. Death damage, but no more. Bomb tower to pick up the Miner. Let's see if Boeufmac switches lanes here or tries to double down on this side. Cannon Cart not in range of that tower. Down to 816 on the left-hand side as 15 seconds remain in regulation time. Down by 2 is the Brint. Airsurfer could close things out here, but looking really rough. We're probably going to a game 4, barring a big-time mistake from Boeufmac or a major outplay by Airsurfer. The NATO tries to pull all that back. A nice NATO zap, and that's still being tanked for. Will the Bats stop the connection? They do. 1822 on that side. And again, Airsurfer picking up that Miner, going to the safe spot. Gotta wonder if Boeufmac can find a time when that NATO is out of cycle or not worry about the NATO and just go ahead and get a Miner in a different spot and not get caught here. We'll see. Delivery high, Archer's low. Final 90 seconds. And this time goes Miner to the back. Knows the NATO's going to come in, not worried about it at this stage. Go ahead and force him to play the NATO on defense, spend 3 Elixir on defense rather than on offense, and get a little bit more chip damage. Smart play, and I think you'll see Boeufmac keep on doing that at this stage here. Ice Whisk cycle to the left by Airsurfer. I don't know if he has a really good way. Again, this is about whether or not his opponent makes a mistake at this stage. And he goes, interesting, Boeufmac going Mortar to the right-hand side, trying to put some pressure maybe, trying to maybe pull the balloon away from the strong side tower. This could be devastating. That balloon's going to get a connection. No, delivery just barely gets in. And a nice high Mortar to pull it back. Boeufmac playing great in this one. Able to get control back again, and 1 Mortar shot does come in. Final 50 seconds. Misfits Airsurfer going to load up on the left-hand side. Valkyrie to tank, but it does not get across the bridge. Delivery stopping it. There you go with a NATO trying to keep that balloon path on the tower. Miner goes to the right-hand side. Boeufmac spreading this field thin very, very well. A good pickup, though, by Airsurfer with the Valkyrie. 30 seconds left. Ice Wiz balloon. Miner in on the left-hand lane. Boeufmac goes high with the mortar. Does not pull, though. Does he get it retargeted? And he does with that delivery. Zap takes the archers off the board. Bats behind. Miner on the right-hand side here. Has to mortar one more time, does Boeufmac, I believe, to keep this one from connecting, and he does. Final 12 seconds. Damage on the right-hand side, damage on the left-hand side. Miner goes in, Cannon Cart trying to hold on here. Arrows adding a bit more. Miner gets on the right-hand side, and Boeufmac does take the win in game number 3. We have a fight on our hands, folks. Boeufmac keeps himself alive here and extends the game. Woo-wee, that was a heck of a game. That was a fun one to call there, huh, everybody? If you don't like that, you don't like Clash Royale. There you go. Take a look at the matchup data. Let's get Airsurfer's banned. Find out what he wants to get rid of for this next one. Whew, I'm out of breath. Need some water after that one. That was a fun one. So taking a moment to figure out what Airsurfer wants to ban. We all forgot that that Boeuf's a phenomenal 1v1 player. I don't know. I don't think anyone forgot. And it's going to be Mortar. Whoa. So Siege entirely is out of the game here. Wait a second. Why is that not showing up? Oh, that's why. Boom. There we go. All right. Game 4 start when ready. Guys, of course, $100 open tournament directly after this one. So maybe back to minor wall breakers again now that Mortar is out. No Mortar. What an interesting pair of bans here, guys. Mortar and Expo, the two bans in this best of 5. And opens up with the Goblin Barrel, does Boeufmac, going with double bait. That does feel like the most likely scenario in most of these cases. When you see Goblin Barrel, not a lot of people playing traditional bait these days. So game slows down here a little bit. Boeufmac cycles Knight to the right-hand side. Pretty heavy so far out of Airsurfer. There's a bit of cycle. So potentially RG here. Although Fisherman Hunter are everywhere. Pretty slow game so far for double bait being one of the two decks being played. And Mega Knight high for Airsurfer. Right into an Inferno Tower. So that works out nicely for Boeufmac. Gets some good damage on the right-hand side. Yeah, could be Loon potentially. That'd be a little bit weird. Have not seen a big spell yet from Airsurfer. It's interesting. We are almost at the end of this month, and still there's still decks I haven't seen. Could still be Piggy, says Sam in the chat. Could still be Piggies. Here we go. Goblin Barrel to the left-hand side. And delivery. I think people figured it out. The delivery timing on Goblin Barrel is pretty much set now. You don't have to predict. You just have to be ready. It's really just about keeping track of Goblin Barrels. And when you know they're in cycle, making sure you always have the elixir and know where your delivery is out of your 4 cards to select. But it's not an impossible pickup. The only issue is being outcycled like you just saw right here. And didn't even get the outcycle. Delivery still got in. Great control there from Airsurfer. Really excellent control there from Airsurfer. Very impressive. Nope, Mega Knight comes in. So Airsurfer starting to set up something big here. Inferno Tower drops in response, and it's GY. What an interesting graveyard deck. And look at that, the graveyard distracting the Inferno Tower, but not long enough. No, the Mega Knight leaps out of Inferno Tower range. Still going to work out okay for Boeufmac in this one, but that could have been disastrous the way that Mega Knight was moving around. Interesting graveyard deck here from Airsurfer. Boeufmac needs to really start picking up the spreading thin. Just chipping away a little bit. Remember that this version of Bait does not have the ability to cycle you down with spells very well. The only direct damage spell is that log. And he might need to save that log a bit for graveyards on occasion. And Mega Knight does get in range of the Inferno Tower now. Gonna get burned off nicely. And that Hunter not able to defend. 15-50 on the left-hand side. So Boeufmac still with a lead in both lanes. Graveyard can change that in an instant, especially as we get here in a triple elixir. Can Boeufmac maintain the defense? Dark Goblin out of cycle on the wrong side. There you go. Now Dark Goblin back on the correct side. He loads up Skelly Barrel on the left-hand lane. 2 Skelly Barrels down. This deck is crazy in triple elixir. Airsurfer spread a little bit thin here. Delivery has to go onto the Skeleton Barrel, so expect a Goblin Barrel now very quickly. As delivery is the best response. There goes Goblin Barrel. Hunter and Skellies have stopped most of that damage, but significant damage on that left-hand tower down to 1140. Right-hand side, 1421. Ewiz trying to stop those Skellies. They do get one shot on that right-hand side. Graveyard on the left-hand side and Poison. Dark Goblin steps up into the Poison log to clear some of that off. But now this is a possible lead change right here, and it is. Airsurfer takes the lead, 19-20 with 15 seconds left. Is delivery going to be enough? And it will be. Graveyard in one more time. Boeufmac has to both defend this graveyard and get on tower. I don't know if he can. 8 seconds left. Goblin Barrel in on the back. 920 over on the tower of Boeufmac. Log gets it to 905. Will the Poison tick? The Poison ticks! The Poison ticks! Airsurfer takes the win by 1 Poison tick. What a crazy win. Gets it on the right-hand side. I didn't even see the right-hand side. What did I miss on the right-hand side? I was so focused on the left. Wow, what a game. Wow, what a game. Apparently, I missed the right-hand side. I was so focused on the left-hand side of the game. The Fisherman. It was the Fisherman. Unbelievable. Oh, come on. Let's go ahead and refresh this window. Unbelievable. I'm going to go ahead and refresh that. We can take a look at the stats from that one. We'll go ahead and get that window repopulated one more time so it actually works. There we go. There's your stats from that one. What a rough one. Boeufmac seemed like he had that. What a great game that was. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ending one more time, everybody. We'll go back in here. Let's go ahead and update this one as a win there for Airsurfer. Look at this ending one more time. This was wild. Absolutely wild. Boeufmac was trying to win the game on the left-hand side, and while he was trying to win that, a Fisherman goes to the right. So we're going to go ahead and speed through some of this action. And the reality was that Airsurfer had a pretty good read most of the time, and Boeufmac was never really able to get him in a bad cycle. He started to later in the game because he's the chips starting to get in. He's up against Graveyard, and Graveyard can change everything in a moment. So you see first Graveyard comes in, pretty well defended, and Boeufmac still ahead here. Let's go ahead, we'll watch the final minute one more time. Here we go into the final minute. Let's watch this final minute one more time and take a look at how it went down, because that right-hand tower is in pretty great shape with this final minute. Graveyard comes in. Inferno Tower not burning that long, but delivery and the Goblin and the Dark Goblin work on the right-hand side. 2 Skeleton Barrels down. And decent damage. It really felt like Boeufmac had this thing in pretty good shape here. Goblin Barrel again. And you see the forced 5 elixir dropped against 3. So here we go. The graveyard goes in on the left-hand side. Poison on that. And how does the Fisherman get over to that right-hand lane? Look at how much damage is on that tower, 18 seconds left. So the Fisherman... Where is this? Oh, the Fisherman just wanders off to the right. Ewiz puts it pretty darn close. And just trying to get on, but the Fisherman slides on through, and that's why we missed it. We were just focusing on the other part of it, and that's how you have it. GG, well played. And that's how we ended up here with a 3-0 for Airsurfer in this really, really excellent matchup. Wow, what a fun game. GG's to Airsurfer, GG's to Boeufmac, and thank those of you watching here on YouTube. Hope you enjoyed this best of 5. Of course, I have more of these on the channel. Check out, there'll be another one probably popping up right over here somewhere, and subscribe right up here for those of you watching the replay here on YouTube. There's more BO5s. Of course, my $100 open and $50 open tournaments, my variety of open tournaments. The info for that will be in the description below. I'm Rich Slayton. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.